we have with us Mr. Vinny Gupta, the CEO and President of InNow LLC, a company selling technologies to improve the world. They call them clean technologies. As his friends call him Vinny, we will also refer to him as Vinny. Mr. Gupta, why the manufacturing that you were doing in the US and you decided to move out of that, why did you decide the focus of whatever it is that you produce or create, like the technologies, would be India? How did they zero in on India?
Yes. So we looked at several countries. We looked at China, we looked at India, and we looked at some of the other ones. And when we put all the parameters together, one is the growth factor, one is the power of the middle class, the appetite for innovation, the risk for the innovation, the financing that is available for good technology. When we put all of that together, India is very hungry for innovation. When you go to people and they see something good, they really want to try it. And so we felt, so from my personal standpoint, having been in India, I always wanted to do, something, but that was not the only factor. Then we looked at even the communication, English-speaking nations, and then our people over here can communicate with our people in the US, very easily. The technology transfer, becomes a lot easier. My familiarity with the country, my familiarity with the culture, the language, the laws, those. And then, of course, knowing people, it was probably a lot easier for us to do it over here than other places. The other thing that factored into our equation was also we were able to raise money from India and United States, when we approached people that we are going to be doing the projects, bringing technologies from there and doing it over here. So we were not, we had told them that we are not the brokers or we are not the consultants, we are actually implementers, And so our background with all the management people that we have, is that. I think the other thing that was very interesting is when we were forming our board, we had a very standard that was set was that you can be on the board of InNow if you have started a technology company and if you have made an exit of over $250 million or your net worth is over that, okay. We didn't specify 250, but the idea was that you must have a net worth of, a lot more, And then, of course, people laughed at us, when we did that. But we were able to get 2 people from India, and that was the way we wanted 2 people from India, 2 people from the United States, one from the East Coast, one from the West Coast, and then 2 people from Ohio. So, and actually all 6 members of our board that guide me today are all of Indian origin, and they all wanted something done back in India, So that was, the factor that tilted us, in that.
So the technologies that you have on offer, they right now you mentioned are largely industrial scale projects, and they're focused on water, power, and what was the third?
Water, power, energy, life science. Okay. But before that, the technologies must be one of 3 things. It must be either disruptive, it must be either quantum, and third, it must have a social impact, which means it must either have an economic impact, environmental impact, or health impact, So every technology that we are touching, that we are bringing, falls into one of the categories, and typically it's not only the social impact side, okay. It is either disruptive or quantum, and the social side is, along with it, because we started with about 21 technologies, and then some of them did not have the social impact. So we just took those clearly out of the picture, because it didn't make sense for us, because the incentive and the financials looked, similar. So if we could also do things that have a social impact, I think would be, a great this thing. So when we look at the water, if you look at, I mentioned to you about the pesticides in water, if you go take a look at, some of the places where there are pharma, this thing, the rivers and the lakes are totally polluted, with the pharma, that is there, and that has a direct impact on the living of the people. You probably saw the Satyam Jivit, show where this guy shows the leachate, that comes from the solid waste, and the gobs and gobs of black water flowing, And we think that we also have found a solution to that, As a matter of fact, we just installed a pilot plant on a public-private partnership at a company called SWACO, which is the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio, last week, where we are taking a strip stream of their leachate, and we are running it through a system, and we will be creating agriculture water and then we will be running the experiments to prove that the plants and trees can grow better with this water after it's treated, And so hopefully, that will have an impact, You asked about the industrial side. Yes, we are concentrating on the industrial side, but we are getting a lot of requests for doing the drinking water. And my guess is that we would want to partner with a company that is already in the drinking water, but we will bring the removal of pesticides to the equation. In other words, we will either add a cartridge or something to I don't want to build a whole new system, I want to go to somebody within the Indian partners that are already there, where we build a module and add so that they are removing everything else, but the pesticides will be removed by us, in the home. So hopefully, I hope we can do that, We also intend, after we complete a couple of our experiments that we are running in Europe, for treating the drinking water. There are some cities in Europe that also have the problem of pesticides, and we are right now running trials over there. The initial indications are very, very good. If it works, then I am hoping that we will try to introduce that, to some of our cities, over here, in the drinking water side,
So tell us how you sell these technologies to other companies, and what are the technologies you started working with?
So the reason we looked at the waste heat to recovery is 70% of the heat that is generated in industrial plants go right up the stack, Okay. Waste heat to recovery, people have been doing it for over the last, 50 years, but none have been able to produce a economical model where you can actually produce the electricity at cost that is lower than conventional methods, We believe that our technology, which is a NASA-inspired technology, okay, that we will be able to produce electricity at rates less than any conventional method, We're probably 6 months or 8 months away from introducing that to India. We are right now running our trials in the United States. With data will be available probably in the next 4 to 6 months, and then we will come over here and introduce that. We're not quite ready to introduce it right now over here, but I believe with everything that I know, 6 to 8 months our data will be ready, and then we will be introducing that over here. That will the other reason the waste to heat recovery is important is there is no pollution at all that is created, from that, There are no carbon, there is no CO2, none of that. We're just taking the heat and we're doing that, with the system, which is, which anytime you put a coal power plant, anytime you put that, you are also taking care of the, pollution. So that was one of the reasons we did. In India, we chose that because we see cement plants, we see steel plants, we see every one of them, that is there, and there is a huge, great, need, for that in the waste to heat recovery. The two technologies that we are implementing right now in its full form is the first one is the water technology for taking the contaminants out of the water. These are small molecules that we take out of the water, which other technologies have not been able to do an effective job, including the reverse osmosis or activated carbon or coconut shells or those. So we believe that there is a gap in the market which allows us to bring the technology. And secondly, what we are doing is we are looking for additional water technologies that have a gap in the system. No water treatment facility or no water treatment will be done with a single technology. It will be a combination of multiple technologies. So our concern, we are not trying to bring in something that already exists in India. We are trying to bring the gaps that are identified that we can bring, so we can work with channel partners over here that are already in the system, so that they can do what we cannot do and we can do what they cannot do, and that is a combination. So that's our main strategy. We are working with one of the companies on the first model. I just got the results today, where initially we could not do the whole job and they could not do the whole job, and then we combined our efforts, and I think we're going to solve a very serious problem with one of the industries in Gujarat, where they actually have been, they probably could have been shut down. And I probably know in the next 2 weeks that we probably will be able to salvage the entire industry, in that one. The second technology that we are doing is waste plastic, the municipal solid waste to fuel. So here is the oil that is produced from the waste plastic. Here is the light fraction that is produced. So this is 76%. So 100 pounds of plastic will produce 76 pounds of oil.
100 pounds of plastic
Will produce 76 pounds of this oil. Then what we've done is we've taken the lighter fraction, and that is 16% is taken out, and this is the light fraction. So this is gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Okay, but this one has some sulfur and some chlorine. So then what we did was we used this catalyst to produce this. And this is your diesel and gasoline and jet fuel that you can actually use it in your,
So you said 76 pounds of that crude form.
Yeah, 76% is crude oil.
Okay.
18% is natural gas.
Okay.
And the rest, 8% or whatever it comes to, is char, 76 plus 18 is 94, 6% char,
Okay. Okay. No, so how much would you need to produce?
This is 60% of the 100 pounds, So that means 60 pounds of material. I mean, all of them are sellable, Natural gas has value. The heavy liquids have value. Now, the irony in India, okay, and here's a disappointment is a better word. We tried for 9 months. We went to 6 cities. We went to the municipal corporations. We went to the commissioners. Not one commissioner and not one city offered us the provisions to do the job over here. And you asked about incentive. We were not even looking for incentive. We were looking for giving us a commitment of giving us the plastic. So if we are going to bring investment, we were going to bring the investment from overseas and put the plant and actually do this, Okay. And we were very keen. We came close. We worked with the group in Pune called Swatch. So we hired Petrol India to do this thing. They did a great job, introduced us to the whole thing. Bottom line, at the end of the day, we just did not feel comfortable. In retrospect, we went to do the same thing with Sweco and Team Gemini. They are giving us all the land we need. They are giving us all the plastic we need. They are giving us all the commitment that we need. And they are actually becoming our public-private partners, Okay, what would be very helpful in India is that if the attitude, was similar, from our officials to bring and have the same excitement, in working with, we in this respect we just didn't see it. So we actually said that we will come back to India 2-3 years from now.
When we are under the garbage that we agree.
No, we are going to be announcing a plant in Columbus, Ohio. Okay. So we have decided not to put the plant in India. Okay. We have decided that we are going to pursue and putting the plant, in Columbus, Ohio first. And then after we have it running, after we have it done, then we will bring our friends from here. I think there is a huge need over here, and maybe that's probably a better, business model for letting us prove everything over there and do that, and then bring the plant over here. But I hope that answered your questions. I think the government over here should look at incentives in different forms, because we do have incentives in the United States for different. Financing is there, public financing is there, tax credits are there, energy credits are there. I mean, they give you a lot of reasons to put a plant over there, But I'll tell you the best reason, or the reason it was so easy to deal with the officials over there. It was, they treated us as their customer. Okay, and it wasn't that they were doing a favor, They said, we need you. We don't have that mindset in this country.
Yeah. So these two technologies are what you are working with, that you have business models and business case for.
Yes.
And the technologies you develop yourself, you have an R&D center, or these are technologies that are, somewhere... They exist and then you incubate them and you...
No, we don't incubate, we don't invent, we don't do the research. Okay. We are implementers. Okay. Our strength lies in execution and implementation. Okay. We understand technology. So we take somebody else's technology and make a business case, and then we take over the rights to this part of the world, Okay. And we implement that,
In India, what is your focus area going to be, and have you so far started any projects?
Yes, in India we are working. It depends on what you define as ongoing projects. We probably will be installing our first unit probably in the next 60 days. So the biggest effort in India has been in the water technology, in different sectors. It's probably at least 15 industries that need the water technology. So our technology would be very good in the food chain, because as you know, our food chain in this country is contaminated, and that needs to be, So we'll see, I think our first order will come in the food and food color and dye, business.
Like you said, the government needs to incentivize, say, people who are bringing in new technologies. But the fact that industry, if they were to adopt this, like you mentioned, the pharma and the Bhatinda belt and all of that.
That'd be even more preferable.
Yeah, but how do you convince any of them, these industries that exist, say whether it is in Bhatinda or in Punjab, where there is a lot of contamination of water. So now when you go to them and tell them that, look, if you install this, your water quality will improve. But right now they're not willing to do that.
I think in every case it has to be an economic model, Okay, unless there is the economic incentive, nobody's going to do it, I mean, I can talk about all the technologies in the world, but unless it makes an economic business sense, nobody's going to do it, and I don't expect them to do it, When you say about the water quality, it's a question is, what are people willing to pay for the quality of water, I mean, that's really what the bottom line is. Or what is the government willing to pay to give quality water to the citizens? So I think some of the politicians have spoken up, very well, that we need to get proper drinking water, to our citizens, I don't have the answer to that, I think the problem will be there, but we can slowly, change that, Yeah. I don't think it's going to change overnight, I don't think we have the resources to change it overnight,
One of the things that I have felt is that technology in water treatment and in the whole water sector are very advanced, but the adoption or adaptation to these technologies, especially in India, is very slow. Like even today, we're talking about business models on water treatment which are not even equipped to deal with the kind of contamination we have. So
yeah, so the part of the problem that lies in the adoption of the technologies is that our system is broken, So let me give, there are four layers of, what we call the business guys, So one is the MNCs, the multinational corporations, because they are under mandate, by their parent corporation. Then we have what we call the early adopters, the Tatas and those, the what I call the corporate citizen culture organizations that are Indian-led, but have that vision. Then we have what we call the followers, and then we have what we call the envelope guys, okay, and until we get people, the early adopters, okay, and that is so the early adopters have to come. So our strategy is to work with the early adopters, Our strategy is to work with those people that have been identified as troublemakers for the Pollution Control Board, Because the other guys have no incentive. If you are not under any pressure, and you are getting by with whatever it is, how it is system, why would you want to put a capex, I mean, if it's not going to give you any return, why would you want to do it, So until there is enough pressure from our government, so let me give you a different example. So today in India we have what we call the zero discharge liquid, but we don't have zero discharge solid, So what are we doing? We're taking this thing and we have the zero liquid discharge, but we got gobs and gobs and gobs of solids that are contaminated being thrown on the soil, So the question, somewhere the policymakers, okay, have to look at, so we're taking this solid and we're putting it on the soil. Yeah. When it rains, when it does that, that same contaminant that they don't want in the water is going into your soils. Okay, and so somewhere, the price has to be paid. But India is also a developing country now. So you cannot expect, all these to happen, overnight, is the point I'm trying to make, So there will be slow progress and there will be slow this thing. And I think we will work with the people that, feel that they want to adopt, and then hopefully others will see If we prove ourselves in one industry, then people, when they see that it is working, the others will come. So it's a question of, we just have to find who are the early adopters, who are the more progressive people, who are the ones that actually want to work with you, and take some sort of a risk. And then we want to offer a competitive advantage to those people, those that work with us and help us bring the technologies and help us implement that. We certainly want to work with them and have them a competitive edge, in what they're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for joining us and sparing the time to explain all of this to us.